Hello, and welcome to another episode of the W12 podcast. We are on episode 21. Thank you for listening. Today we've got Brad back joining us on the pod. He missed last week our record podcast, which isn't down to him obviously, but he's back. How you doing, mate?
All right, boys, it's good to be back. Yeah, probably would be the most downloads and listens because I wasn't on, but I'll make up for it this week, hopefully.
We got Duncan on as well. How you doing, mate? Back on?
Yeah, all good.
You
You
good?
all right?
Yes, very well. And we're also joined by Sean Gallagher again. Thanks for coming back on, mate.
How you doing, lads? You all right?
How are you? Love the shirt.
Yeah, all good, mate. Brad wanted me to wear it again because he said it's like a good bit of clobber style. Got it back on again, didn't I?
I like it.
It's for him.
Good. Well, we've got a podcast where we've actually won a football game. It's been a while. So the mood seems a bit better, which always is the case. So let's get stuck straight into Derby. Dunk, what we win?
No, it was a win, but I mean, I think it was a slightly fortunate win, wasn't it? In the sense that we're like really going for it, making the sub, like taking a defender off and trying to go for the 3 points for them, gave us the space for obviously Amos to exploit and get the goal. I think it was just one of those games, was it? Like first half, I felt like it was one of those kind of end of season dead rubbers. Neither team really going for it. I feel like obviously when Derby started pushing for it, that gave us more space and we were able to make the most of that. But over the whole 90 minutes, I do feel like the win was deserved for us. I felt we were the better team.
George, you were there, weren't you, mate? What was it like?
Yeah, I thought, to be fair to Derby fans, I thought they were outstanding. Obviously, they must be sick of the sight of us, didn't they? I mean, it's not just Zamora last minute, Amos, Gray, Bon. Was it? Who else we got? Is it? Would have been who else? Luongo, Mackie. Just, I mean, they must. I feel a little bit sorry. I know, like they must hate us, really, innit? I'm probably going to disagree a bit, Duncan. I thought they edged it a little bit, especially second half. And I thought, they just went for it, didn't they? I thought the right back was decent for them. I thought McCallum had a little bit of a tough time second half, but we got a win. I think we need to end the season on a high. Will be. But yeah, it was the fans weren't bad, but I thought Derby fans, to be fair to them, like I know we take the piss out of Derby a bit, but I thought they were really good enough. They didn't deserve to go down. Really, Rooney's done a great job there. Like, they wouldn't have gone down if it wasn't for all the other nonsense in it. So it's not the fans' fault. To be fair to Derby, they're getting sellouts against Fulham at home and other games when they're like almost certain to go down. So you got to really respect that, like banter aside, isn't it? So I thought probably a draw would have been a fair result, if I'm being honest. And I thought Derby really did go for it second half, but obviously a draw wasn't good for them. They had to win the game, didn't they? And even if they would have won the game, they would have gone down because Reading drew, didn't they?
I feel like the back four changing to a back four. I feel like it's given us a bit of a different momentum, and we feel like I feel with the players we got available, it suits. And actually, I was thinking about this. If we were to pick a back four, is that your strongest back four? I actually think it is, isn't it? Is it? I know Sanderson, but Dickey, he's fully suited to a back three as he is the back. Barbe, when we've played four as well in the past, has struggled.
Sanderson played very well, though, didn't he? I thought he had a very good game.
I thought he looked a bit better. Sometimes his
I think
passing
possession
is a bit
he's rush, isn't? Yeah, possession he's very rush. He's a good talent though, but I do agree with you there. I think with Barbe, obviously, who it looks likely he'll be moving on in the summer. I think he wants to go back. From what I've heard, I think he wants to go back to France with his family, which is fair enough. He's got a young child, hasn't he, and his missus, and that. I think they want to go back to France. I think that's public knowledge. I think, to be fair, I think unless there's something happening with the club and he decides he wants to stay, I think that'll be a loss. I think he's been outstanding for QPR. I think Brentford fans get a bit bad at going, oh, he take Brentford rejects, but I think Barbe is really, for me, I thought he'd be solid, but he surpassed expectations for me. I don't know about you guys. So we still need a lot of we still need a fair, like in the summer, like we need obviously we're going to be in the Championship most likely, and we need a fair bit of recruitment, don't we? Like in areas, there's a lot of. I think we need a couple of wing backs. We need a defender. We need a number 10. We need a couple of strikers. We need about 5-6 players. I think, and then obviously we need to sell someone, don't we? In order to, I think we need to sell a player again, like we do with Bire. We need to sell someone in order to funds into the club so we can strengthen the squad, isn't it? Yeah. If that's an Ilias, if that's just literally, obviously not. If that's an Ilias, if that's a Chris, if that's a Senny Dieng, if that's a Rob Dickey, I don't know. More likely maybe an Ilias or a Chris in terms of I don't know what you guys think, but I think we need to sell. We have to sell someone.
I think if we can get any money for Lyndon Dykes, like big money, I mean, I think we should certainly take that. Not sure how possible that is, but all the rumours are true. But
I think Lyndon is currently at a championship level. I think he's a grafter. I think you can ever fault his commitment. I think he's obviously got probably room for improvement kind of thing. But I think he gets a bit of hammering sometimes. But I say one thing about him, like he works his socks off and he puts himself about. You know what? He might not be the most technically gifted player, but let's be honest. Like in terms of putting himself about, there's other players who don't really put themselves about, do they? So I think we got to give him cut him a. I think it was a bit tongue in cheek, that wasn't it? But
I thought Dykes played well against Derby. I think he played better anyway. Definitely looked better. He had a few shots as well, which don't see that often. But I think if any player is likely to be a sell-on fee, like we're talking now, I think it'd be Ilias, because I think Chris Willock's injury has affected that. Same with Senny. I don't think Senny's going anywhere. But yeah, reflecting back on Derby, I think it was one of them scrapey games, but we got the 3 points, and hopefully we can get these points in the next 3 games to have that hope.
Yeah, it's the hope that kills you, mate.
QPR,
I think you got a bit of a whatever with George Thomas as well. I think a lot of people said about a lot on Twitter, isn't it? Like George Thomas, he's not good enough. He's legal. I think Mark Warburton, you can see he's blocked a number of League One low moves, but I think he's been positive, breath of fresh air. I'm not saying Harry literally, but I think he's deserved his place ahead of other people. I think he just needs to, if I'm being honest, improve his end product. I think he goes down a little bit too easily, and I think he needs to be more aggressive and believe in himself, because I think if he does that, he's got all the ingredients to be a very competent, pretty decent championship player, without a doubt. For me, I think he can do a bit. He just needs to believe in himself a little bit more.
He's got the work ethic of Jamie Mackey, hasn't he, Thomas?
Sure, but
I just think obviously he said it. He needed more game time, and I said it. But I think at Derby, it wasn't his sort of game. I didn't think he suited that game. So, and then that's the likes of when you have players to come on or fill that position. But we're missing Willock, and so.
I'm not a massive Thomas fan. I've got to say, I appreciate what you're saying, Sean. I.e., that he is a bit of a breath fresh. He's come in when we're in terrible form, and he's come in, he's run about, and he's given a bit of desire. And I get that, and fans like that, and he certainly gives us a bit of energy. But I just think sometimes his quality is so poor. Like I've not seen anything in the final third. Really, like a couple of passes, a couple of runs, but. I'm all about like taking a couple on and knocking it in the box, I haven't even, from a goal perspective, I've not even seen him get close.
Yeah, I agree with that. He needs to improve his end product, definitely.
If you played in that front three, or you just need to be a bit more of a goal threat, and that does apply for Dykes slightly as well. Back to your point around Dykes, he's not enough of a goal threat, and that might be the way we play. I don't know. And he plays his back to goal a lot. And it makes it difficult for him to get in the positions where the ball's just sort of Dykes is better when the ball's knocking about in the box and it's just instinctive, and he'll just instinctively stick a leg out or a head out and stuff. But it's not really how we play. It's why he plays quite well for Scotland, I think, because they sort of play like that a little bit, knocking balls in the box. And so I just think the Dykes and Thomas, it's kind of fitting at the moment, but it certainly isn't a long-term solution for me. I don't know about you, Dunk.
I mean, like I kind of see both points. Like I think Thomas has come in, he's like taken the chance, like his chance in the team at the minute. I feel like he's offering a bit more commitment than some players were. I feel like he's putting in more of a shift than some players were. But again, like the end product isn't there. Like I know he got the lucky assist the other week where it bounced off his bum, but
talk about that,
mate. Statistically, you can. But I feel like if he gets a goal, I feel like he's one of those players where he's a confidence player. I feel if he gets like a goal, then I feel like that could spur him on to be that little bit more. Like I don't know. I feel like with Thomas, there's potential for him to be a good championship player for us.
I think so. On the squad, I think. I said he can start in it, but he could be around it.
When Chair's in the team and Willock is back, I can't see where we'd slot Thomas back in. So
are we going to keep both Chair and Willock? Do you know what I mean? One of them might go. You don't know, do you? One of them might think, how much is Chair going to go?
You can play all three. You can play him as like a attacking three with Dykes up top, couldn't you?
Then where'd you put Amos? And by the way, we've got Luke Amos on the pod in the next 5 minutes, which you can all look forward to. but where do you fit him in? Because Luke Amos is someone who you want running in the box. You want him up there, like, you know, you don't want him sitting back CDM or, you know, so you kind of lose him as well by doing that.
Yeah, he's got to be in the team. He's breaking forward. That's probably why he's breaking forward a lot more. He's getting into those positions. He's capable of scoring. He's shown Peterborough, shown against Derby. He's confident in front of goal. He's calm. Luke Amos must be a massive player for us next season. Keep him fit, 8 to 10 goals.
100%. I agree with you. I think we've got to push him forward. I've been saying it for.
Fingers crossed, he keeps fit.
Well, speaking of him, he's here now, lads. So let's have a little chat with him.
Here he is, match winner, Luke Amos. How are you? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
We're all good here, mate. We're all good. What's it like scoring the winner? I can imagine, like, in training, you must be walking around, winking and gunning at everyone. Is it like that when you score a winning goal? Like?
For me, like, I try and say the same, but, you know, everyone else is like, oh, here he is, like, you know, that kind of chat, like the match winner, all of that kind of stuff. But I try and just try and stay the same level, but it's nice, of course.
You've not got anyone making you tea and bringing you your food and that.
Well, Lyndon's claiming that he's going to copy everything I do because I've been scoring recently, so who knows?
So what's that? That's your 6th goal of the season. That's from just 7 shots I saw this week, which is incredible.
Well, someone sent me that as well. I know. I think that's 7 shots on target. I think.
Yeah, on target.
Because I think there was a game when I hit the post twice in a row. Also, I had the header the other day. I remember Nottingham Forest. I missed a sitter as well. So I can remember a few chances that I missed, to be fair. So I could have a few more.
Well, it's 188 minutes per goal though, which is another incredible stat. I think it was, when I saw it, was like the 2nd best minutes per goal ratio in the Championship for anyone over 2 goals, which in itself is pretty decent. What's behind this goal glut for you then?
I think a lot of it is obviously right place, right time. But I got to give myself credit for arriving in the right place. But I think just since my injury, with all like the arrivals and stuff like that, I felt like I've had to like adjust my game a little bit. And what's going to keep me in the team on top of my energy and all that stuff is scoring goals. So if I can not focus too much on being in the build-up, but if I can be finishing the chances, then that gives me more of a chance of playing. And then obviously that helps the team too. So that's what I've been trying to focus on a bit more.
Is that what Warburton told you, is it? I.e., you know, is that something that Warburton has told you that he wants from you for you to be, you know, because at the moment I'd say you're probably one of the first names on the sheet, on the team sheet. So is it something that, what discussions have you had with Mike Warburton about?
Well,
it's
this? Something that like all the coaching staff have been on me about because of like how I am as a player. I can do I'm not saying I can do everything because like I'm not, but I can do a little bit of everything, if that makes sense. Like I can run around, I can tackle, I can pass, I can break into the box, and obviously I can score a few goals as we've seen recently. So the coaches just want me to just do a bit of everything, especially like Neil Banfield. He's on me all the time about making in the box, arriving, him and Chris Ramsey as well. So if I can just keep doing that, then hopefully I can stay in the team.
Your goal on the weekend, obviously we all noticed that Derby went for it and they took off a defender, put a striker on. Obviously there was that space. Did you know that space was going to be there sort of before the goal, or did you just saw a bit of space, head down, and you just went?
It was sort of, it was like they tried to counter on us. I think they might have had a 3v3 and then we won it back. So I was actually sort of trying to get back in position to go and defend. Then it quickly turned over. I saw Elias had the ball, so I was like, do you know what? Let me stay here. Let me cheat a little bit, because I'd seen that. I think it was like Sibley that came on. He's not even a fullback anyway, so he's naturally going to try to push on. And then I saw it coming to me from as soon as it came to Linden, I know it's coming to me, and obviously everyone can see it. The crowd knows it's coming to me and all that. But I felt fairly composed. I knew that when I got the ball, I wasn't even thinking about my touch. I knew that when I get the ball, I know where I'm going to put it. So I sort of just focused on that, and then it came off. Luckily, I don't know if that's luck, but yeah.
Well, luckily, it was a great finish, mate.
Yeah, thanks.
Your old man wasn't composed in the stands, Luke.
I can imagine.
You're mad.
I can imagine, like, you
said
put him.
Amos though, so yeah.
If you put him anywhere, like, I know for a fact that when it's him and his girlfriend are in the box, I know they're just screaming the box down, like they're just obviously we're Nigerians, and Nigerians are quite like loud, colourful people anyway. So if I'm scoring, missing, he's always going to be shouting, screaming. So that's just my dad, I suppose.
Luke, you know, Derby obviously got relegated. What's that like? Like after the game and all the fans have gone home, do you go and see them and sort of say not sorry, but do you know? Do you know what I mean? How does it? Do you go and chat to them or not? What happened?
After the game, like it was a mixture of emotions for me. Of course, like, we needed that win so bad, and obviously, like, scored the win, so I'm super delighted. But at the same time, obviously, Derby had just been relegated through through the players, no fault of their own really. They put up like a great battle, so I felt a little bit like I don't really want to celebrate too much right here, right now, because like the circumstances, because that could be any one of us, you know. Like maybe 2 years ago when I was, 2 years ago when I was looking to go on loan, I could have ended up at a Derby, then I might have signed there permanently, and now I could be looking at myself like, oh, like what's going on with my future? So it's not something that I'm not in their face like, yeah, like I sent you down at all. But at the same time, we got to focus on ourselves as well. And I'm super delighted to get that win because we needed it.
Yeah, Luke, obviously, you had a really good, for me, you had a really good January when Ilias was off at AFCON and before, say, like someone like Jeff came in. Obviously, and then when they came back into the squad, you kind of found yourself back on the bench almost. Was that kind of a difficult transition for you after playing well for that period while they weren't there?
Yeah, I think so because I think I've made maybe my second start. When I came in again was like maybe end of December. I think it was Bristol City, Birmingham. Then we went on like a really good run right the way through January. I was like, okay, because after being out for so long, you need like a good run of games. I feel like, yeah, I'm getting that, whatever. I scored against Reading. And then, like, of course, like, if good players come available, good players are going to come to the club, right? So it was frustrating, I can't lie. But then that's the whole part of football. It's about the score, it's about the team. So I just try to keep training hard, whatever. And then, yeah, like some injuries come, you try and take your chance or whatever. So I feel like that's what I've tried to do, and that's what I've done. But yeah, it's tough. It's definitely tough. But that is football. There would have been a time when maybe I joined QPR, other players were like, "Oh, look, another midfielder comes." So it's just about owning your sport and then keeping it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Luke, I know you mentioned injuries there. I just wanted to ask you. You know, obviously you had two very bad injuries so far in your career. What was going through your mind when it happened, and what made you overcome those injuries?
So the first one was tough to take because obviously I was at Tottenham these times, and I was 21. I worked my whole life to get to this exact spot to be in Tottenham first team. I just made my Premier League debut. Then for it to be taken away from me, it was tough. But at that point, I didn't really know what was to come. So with the second one, for example, I knew I got to go through all of that stuff again. Like the days when you can't move, you can't walk, you can't even look after yourself. But in fact, the second time was even tougher because the injury was worse. Also because it was like during COVID and all that stuff as well. And also just because like I've gone through it the first time, I'm super ready to kick on and to like show my worth now. I've had the first year alone at QPR, which was like getting the feeler or whatever. And here I'm ready to kick on now. And for it to be taken away was so tough. And then obviously new players come in and I'm thinking like, am I going to get back into this team? Throughout my rehab, I worked tirelessly to make sure that wasn't the case, but you still never know, especially when there was a point when we were losing before Christmas. It's like, is the gaffer even going to be here? If he goes, what chance have I got? Then on the flip side, in January, when everyone's coming and doing really well, Stefan's playing well, the team's winning, I'm like, how am I going to get back into this team?
Yeah.
So it was tough mentally, but my physios were incredible. Like one particular Adam Wright, he was incredible throughout the whole process. And obviously I spent some time with my family. I'm a religious man as well, so like I prayed a lot. And yeah, like it's literally so I scored on Friday. That was a year after my first pitch session. So on the same day in 2021 was my first time I jogged on grass. So it's crazy, like the difference a year can make. So yeah, it's been crazy.
So would you say like it's made changes now to like how you to your game. Do you know what I mean? Knowing that you've had these injuries, is there been changes made that you've got
I
to be
think,
brought to solve? And
yeah. So the first time so basically, both instances were exactly the same, but just on each side. The first time I thought it was like a freak accident. So the second time, when I've done it again, it's like, hold on, this can't be a freak accident. So there's little adjustments I've made and stuff, more about my closing down, or because obviously, as you know, like I'm someone I like to get out there sharp, I like to run around and that, but it's just like little minor changes. But for me, the injuries, especially the recent one, there's more change, like my mentality, the way I view things, how lucky I am to be out on the pitch every time I get the chance, even for training, even when it's snowing, it's cold. Like when I was injured, I would have loved to have been out there in the snow, freezing, just playing football. And that's why I try not to get too high or too low when I'm in the team, when I'm out of the team, because the fact that I can even be in that argument, in the selection, available for selection, is something that I'll never take for granted again, I suppose.
Luke,
just-
go on, Ben.
I was just going to say, since the start of February, QPR have won 12 points from the 15 games we've played, which obviously isn't fantastic form, but your goals have accounted for 5 of those points.
Okay.
Do you feel that to get back into the team, you had to be like making those breaking runs, getting put, like, obviously Jeff's more of, like, in my opinion, more of like a holding midfielder, and does that mean you've kind of taken it upon yourself to be more of a like attacking threat, like to think, to get back in this team, I need to be like more of a goal threat, pushing on and showing obviously the manager what I can do in training and stuff to be an attacking threat for the team?
I think so. I don't think it's a case of like me versus Jeff to play, because there's a load of us. There's Andre, Steph, Sam, Dom, like Ilias sometimes plays deeper. Chrissy was playing deeper, George Thomas. So it's not a case of like me versus Jeff. It's just, I don't know. It's just I gotta I just gotta bring energy. And then if any player scores goals, they play. So it's not no one telling me to go and score goals, but I know that if I can score goals, I'm gonna play. So that's what I've just tried to do. And yeah, so far I've got a couple.
Luke, what do you think in terms of your form? I remember talking to your dad when you joined permanently a couple of summers ago, and he says obviously your loan spell. He said to me like he didn't, in his opinion, you weren't really playing well at all, and he there was so much more to come for you. Obviously, watching you from a kid and Tottenham's academy and everything. Mitchell Pochettino was obviously a big fan of you as well. What level do you think you're at now? Because when you had that ACL, obviously, the Bournemouth, you were in pretty good form as well. So what level of performance do you think you're at now? And where obviously with the two ACLs, obviously such a being able to play professional football again, let alone being able to play such a good level now. Where do you see yourself now, and how confident are you getting back into that Premier League and obviously getting to where you were before? Because obviously, if it wasn't for those injuries, you'd probably be in Tottenham's first team squad, if not in the first team now.
I think like I've been playing more recently, and of course I've been scoring goals and stuff. But I still feel like there's so much more to come. Like when I like review my game and break it apart, like there's so much more I can do in possession. There's so much more I can do out of possession. But it's still like it does take like a good year to get back to any like previous level of like competition, like to feel like how you did before. Like I'm still chasing a little bit the level that I was at maybe before both ACLs, but I know that will come as long as I stay fit. And it's just something that I keep working towards. Of course, like one thing I learned from my injuries, like I don't look too far ahead. So I don't want to write this 4-year plan with all these elaborate ideas and that, because everything can change overnight. So it's more so just working hard and enjoying every day. And as long as I know I'm giving my absolute best every day and not leaving anything to chance, I will get to where I get to. If that's the Premier League with QPR, without QPR, if that's the Champions League with QPR, without QPR, like who knows? It's just literally day by day, step by step, just maximizing every second, and then that takes me where it takes me.
Luke, the playoffs. Obviously, we're still in with a shout, kind of somehow, but we're still there.
Yeah.
What's the feeling in the camp this week around? Obviously, Saturdays are now an even bigger game, I guess. And I know all we can do is win, but you never know with this championship, do you? What's going to happen? So, what's the feeling around the camp at the moment?
No, we genuinely believe, like the fact that we've been so poor, or the results have been so poor from February till, I guess, end of March, mid-April, and we're still in with a shout. It just shows like how good we are and how much we have to offer. So there's three cup finals, I suppose. That's super cliche, but that's what we can do. As I said about myself, it's like just take it day by day, game by game, give it everything you can. That's how we're gonna approach training tomorrow. The game Saturday, hopefully we win. Like we're confident to win, and that leads us where it leads us. And it gives us 2 big games. And in fact, we play Sheffield United, don't we, next week? So that's an even bigger occasion to go and take that spot our own. Of course, it's a shame that we should be comfortably in there, because even if we had drawn some of them games that we lost, or hadn't drawn some of the games we were leading, we'd be in a much better position. But we are where we are, and we're just going to keep fighting like right until the end.
Luke, I
You
want
get
to
the pressure on.
60-second quickfire questions, lighten it up a bit. Hopefully, have a bit of laugh. So
Alright.
I'll start off now. Childhood idol,
Thierry Henry,
night in or night out?
night in.
Superhero,
I don't even know. I'd have to go with Spider-Man.
FIFA or COD?
Oh, NBA 2K. I don't even play anything else.
Oh,
2K.
NBA,
Yeah, I was an NBA player in a past life, I think.
yeah. First football kit you ever wore?
An Arsenal one, can't lie.
Best away ground you've played in?
I'm not sure. I travelled with the Tottenham first team, to the Bernabeu, which was incredible before atmosphere, and then the Milan Stadium. This is poor. What's the Milan Stadium called?
San
Quite a
Siro.
great block. San Siro, yeah, San Siro as well. Them two were incredible. So yeah, one of them, I suppose.
Best player you played with?
Oh, between Moussa Dembele and Iberi Eze.
Oh,
Oh god.
I put him up there with the best ever. I promise you, he's a joke.
Favorite film?
Shrek.
Yes, mate. Biggest fear?
Failure.
What's your signature dish?
I actually made it today. It's like this. I want to make it sound really fancy, but it's basically a chicken wrap, yeah. But it's not just a chicken wrap. It's not just chicken thrown in bread. Like there's all kinds of like there's little concoctions I make with the seasonings and all that. A bit of guacamole, all sorts. But yeah, so I guess I got to label it chicken wrap, but it's not just simple as chicken wrap. Sorry, I missed that. Oh.
If you could go back in time to play any footballer in the history of the game, who would it be?
Oh, Thierry Henry. I'd love to play with Thierry Henry, honestly.
And my 2 favourite ones at the end. If you was going on a night out, pick 3 players from the squad now, and why?
I would take Moses. I would take Jimmy. Oh, then
Everyone picks Jimmy, don't they? Everyone picks Jimmy.
Yeah, you got to pick Jimmy. So Moses, Jimmy. Then it's a toss-up between Andre Gray and Dion. Dion is a great guy. Honestly, this is coming. I've laughed non-stop. So yeah, I'd say it's between. If I could take them 4, I'll take all 4 of them.
And then my favourite one at the end. You're the gaffer. QPR players in the current squad now. Pick your 5-a-side team. You can't be in it.
I'm not in it. So Senny in goal. Senny's in goal. I'll go Rob Dickey. I'll go Chris Ilias. Then who else do I throw in there?
Who's going to get you goals?
He's going to get me goals, but I feel like Chris Ilias in the 5-a-side, they get you enough goals. But I don't think they work hard enough. I'm not sure the last one. I think maybe I'll put Jeff in there. He's nice. He's tidy with the ball. He gets in the 5-a-side. He keeps it well. So yeah, I might play 2 false 9s, Chris and Ilias, and then Bob and Jeff behind them.
That's a decent team.
Brad, didn't you want to show Luke your hair? That he's inspired. Brad's been to the barbers today and he got a Luke Amos inspired.
Luke, they're taking a big. Have a look.
Go
Come on,
on.
mate.
Where is it? Show it. Where's the cat?
What is that? Is that after a
I don't think
haircut?
That's after his haircut,
Mate,
yeah.
If that's not after, surely not.
it's shocking, isn't it?
That's why I keep the cap on.
Oh.
Luke, just a final one of me, like in terms of obviously I know you've spoke about this before, like footballers being kind of like put in a mold, like they're not intelligent and stuff. I know like during the lockdown you done I think theology, philosophy, French. What kind? I think piano as well. Actually, what is your
Yeah, I
currently? What stuff are you doing in your like spare time now? And would you be open in the future to like playing abroad, like in France or Italy? You keep seeing kind of the type who'd be quite keen on that.
Yeah, I think so. The keyboard. So obviously, I wanted to eventually play the keyboard, so the piano. So obviously, I started with the keyboard, but I realized that I can't multitask too much. So like, so obviously, I'm learning French. I've been studying French hard for like the last 2-3 years. Like, I'm still super into it. Like I'll do some every single day. So I wasn't able to do that and the piano at the same time. So I set the piano off. So at the minute, it's more just French. I've got a few books lined up for the summer. Whenever that is. Hopefully it's in June rather than beginning of May. Like Don Ball's book, let me shout out Don Ball for his new book that's come out. But free promo for Don.
Bought that, yeah.
So I got that on the way. But yeah, more so at the minute, I've just moved house. So at the minute, I'm quite occupied with like sorting out all that nonsense that comes with it, like picking out what color scatter cushions I want, all of that nonsense. Like, and I'm by myself, so I'm trying to figure all that out. But other than that, it's just my French, which I'm super into. Hopefully, I get an opportunity to go to France in the summer. I speak French with like maybe with Yo, Seni, a little bit of Ilias on a daily basis. So just trying to improve. And then once maybe another year or two with French, and then I want to try Spanish. And I think I should be able to pick that up quite easy because I can speak French. So that's it, really. Nothing. I'm not that excited. I'm not going to say that I paint, or I do art, like I'm a sculptor or anything like that. I just like to keep my brain active. So language is what I enjoy doing apart from football. So yeah.
Back to Nigeria in the summer as well, Luke. Obviously the foundation, everything. I mean, your dad obviously very passionate about that, aren't you?
Yeah, that's something that during my injury, like I wanted to divert a lot of my energy into something more positive than just moping about. And obviously, like me and my dad are super close. Like we're back home, so that's something that like we've been looking at the minute. We're trying to. Well, my dad's working out what areas we can work on because all the work we done last year, everything's gone super smooth. We've had no issues, so that we've made like the village super happy. So at the minute, it's just like revisiting, like replanning how we can help the next part of the community. Then hopefully I can get out there at some point this year because it's a good life out there as well. Like especially if you go to Lagos, like you can really enjoy life. So Nigeria is a good like mix of the two, but it's important for me to make sure that like I'm giving back because even on my lowest days last year when I'm injured and I can't walk, I still got food in my belly and like I can still just go to the tap and get water. So it's something that like I'm never trying to take for granted.
Great cause, mate. Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before you go, so obviously we've got Stoke. What's the next sort of 24 hours before the game sort of look like? Do you travel up tomorrow or will you go up in the morning?
Yeah. So we'll travel in the morning, so in like nice and early. Like we'll have like the meeting, go through the set pieces, all that stuff. We'll go out and train. We'll go through more like tactics and stuff like that. Go in, have a bit of time. So whether you want to spend some time in the gym, physio, ice baths, recovery, whatever. Then we eat, then we'll travel. I think we'll go up on a train. Then yeah, just prepare in the night in the hotel. Again, eat, maybe pool recovery and kind of things. Then wake up in the morning. It's like it's game day, right? So all your normal preparations, and then yeah, leave with the 3 points.
Who's your roommate?
Nah, so now it's not because of COVID. Like it's fantastic now. We don't share, which sounds boring, yeah. But
that's
I can't
imagine you could get Shrek on, innit?
Exactly. I can't imagine sharing a room now. Like I think even when it was like pre-COVID, I feel like I still like my own space. Like, there's an option for me to pay for like a whole room for myself. I would pay like half to get that bit of space for myself. Like I'm a bit of like I do like my own company maybe a bit too much at times. But on the bus, I'll travel up. Well, you know what? The bus has been like musical chairs at the minute. Everyone's been floating about, and I'm not happy with it because I like the seating plan. Like everyone's ruining the seating plan. Like if I could choose, I'll sit next to Jimmy going up, and then like my four will be Dion, Andre Dazelle, Jimmy, and then me. That's a little solid four we got there. All kinds of conversation, but yeah, because of the musical chairs.
Few baby Guinness after winning on Saturday, innit? Lovely job.
And then because of the musical chairs, end up with anyone. But everyone, I can sit and talk to anyone, so I'm not really complaining.
When you're wait before you go, when you're on the bus, you know you're going to away games. Like, do you play games or cards or anything on the way up?
It depends. Like, there's a cards club. I don't know what they play. That's like the Don Ball, Rob Dickey, Chaz. They play some sort of card game. I've no idea what that is. Back when Ebbs was here and it was bright, midday, we used to play like blackjack, like a Uno version of like blackjack, not the casino blackjack. That was quite good. But yeah, it's not so much games really anymore. Or I think some of the lads might play like poker or something like that. But no, I can't lie, I'll just be there with my French or having a conversation or something like that. Jimmy's trying to learn Spanish, so I have an eye on Jimmy when he's learning Spanish. I can pick up a few words. So yeah, like traveling, I'm not a big fan of the traveling, but it's part of the job. So you might as well try and like use the time wisely, be productive, I suppose.
Luke, does the dynamic of it, just quickly, the dynamic of a dressing room or a bus, I guess, change when players come in and out? Do you find that? I've always wanted to ask that. Like, so you'll have like a core group or a leading group all split up, or how does it change quite regularly?
Yeah, I think so. From year to year, obviously it changes depending on like big characters coming in, characters going out. But to be fair, do you know, I'd like to say this group has been the same for 3 years, but it's changed quite a bit, to be fair. Obviously when like Chaz and Steph came in, they're big experience, like big players. So obviously they become like not the voice of the group, but obviously they're the senior players. So they do a lot of the talking and stuff. But I feel like in any changing room, there's always obviously the big group, and there's always like little groups anyway. Not that it's cliquey, but you know, just like for example, traditionally like the London boys, they might like sit together on whatever. Then maybe the Northern, like Liam Kelly and Lee Wallace, the Scottish boys, they would go and do their own little thing. But we have a really good group where I can walk into the change room and have a conversation with anyone. So that's one thing that in the last 3 years, regardless of people coming in and out, like I've enjoyed myself around every single player. So it's definitely important. But yeah, I just feel like being at QPR has just been a good group all round, really.
Luke, look, we'll let you go, mate. I think we just want to say you're having a great season, and hopefully you can grab a couple more goals for the end of the season. If you grab the winner on Saturday, will you do the piano for us celebration?
Cool. Cool. Yeah.
Top man, mate. Have a great evening,
Cheers,
man.
Luke.
Yeah, just coming on, man.
Thank you. See you. Bye.
Mate.
Top man, eh?
What a lovely bloke.
Yeah,
and I like what he's doing with the foundation. He sounds like a very intelligent, and it's good to hear that there's a good group of lads there, you know, and they're all getting on. So it's great for him to come on.
It begs the question though, about what did go wrong? What has gone wrong? Like it feels like a good group. It seems like a good group. It seems like they're all behind Warburton. But for some reason, the form, I just don't know where it's come from. Or what's happened. I thought something might have happened internally, but I don't know what you think.
Do you think that it's, for me, this is just my opinion, that I always felt that when like Ilias came back from AFCON, like when Jeff came in, like they almost kind of came straight into the team. Like almost like even like a little bit with Senny, like when they all came back, they just kind of got their places straight away back. Like Marshall had been brilliant for us before Senny came back. Like obviously, like we said, Luke's been brilliant for us in the January. Then Ilias and Jeff came back into the midfield. Do you feel like that's kind of unsettled a few players? Because I'm sure I saw Luke Amos on the bench before being consoled by Charlie Austin when he was being brought off and stuff. Like, obviously feeling like he's got more to offer the team? Is it frustration in that way? Like, is Warburton managing, like juggling the squad well enough, like managing them all as a man manager?
I think, I don't know, like, we're obviously in a very good position. I think we're punched above our weight quite a bit, in my opinion. I'm just trying to, I think we're punched above our weight, and I think ultimately sometimes maybe have a bit of, not, I don't want to say lucky ride because we're obviously doing very well, but do you know what I mean? I think we look at Coventry, Nick to win, didn't deserve it. Nick to win at Luton, didn't deserve it. There's a few, we say about the points we dropped, but there was many a point we did grind out results, and some of the nonsense I see on social media, like as Brad entitled his opinion, and Dunk, you last week saying your opinion's not being disrespectful towards him, but like some of the disrespectful comments about the manager calling this word and that word, like, I mean, let's talk about 13th, 9th, 10th at the moment on the budget he's on. I don't see another manager working under these financial constraints doing better. Yes, we've fallen off a bit off a cliff, but we're still in 3 games to go, 3 points off the playoffs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to be fair,
I'm not denying that we fell off a cliff. Of course we have, but like, come on, like.
But I agree. To be honest, I was a bit harsh on Warburton on the last episode. But I was
Do you want a managerial change next season?
bit of frustration. But look at Luton manager and the budget he's had and where he's got them.
How many
There's counter arguments to that,
how
like
many
Brad
years-
said, around the fact that mindset, I get it, and I don't disagree with it, but how do we ever go forward if that's always the thought process? Well, we're always batting above our. How can someone take us forward if we're always thinking, well, we shouldn't be up here anyway, because and that mentality runs down through the club as well. And I know a budget, and you look at a budget and you look at a wage fit, and we're always near the bottom. I get that. And transfers in, I saw a big transfers in when we're below. I get that, but that doesn't take into consideration great recruitment that we've got frees in, players that have come through the youth system that wouldn't have cost anything, but are actually better players. For example, Willicks cost us $750. He's better than that whole Stoke team, anyone in it. But there's 7, 6, 5, £4 million players in there. So if you're managing the squad with Willock in it, you should be asked to do expected to do just as good a job as someone if you're comparing quality to quality as opposed to budget. Does that make sense? Quality of the players.
I'm not trying to look at the injuries he's had.
I'll
4
get
wing backs
that.
outside, 4 goalkeepers. You're like, is this team at the start of the season before we kicked the ball? Would you say, or all 3 of you, you'd have said definitely should be in the playoffs? I don't believe any one of you said
After last season, how we finished last season, yeah.
Definitely in the playoffs.
When we did our preview before the start of the season, we all said we should be in pretty much in the playoffs. And most journalists, most pundits for the championship, said the same thing. Most people understand us the 4th best team.
But then what about the
because of the form from last season?
The injuries is a massive thing. I agree.
It's a massive thing.
Yeah, 100%. But what question is above my head is why have we got so many goalkeepers injured? Is
That's a good question. That's maybe one for the medical team to answer.
Is that just a thing, or is there something with the training? Or to me, that's 4 keepers is unheard of. So
yeah, it is. Yeah, that's a fair comment.
I get the injury argument. I do. But for me, it's the stubbornness of not changing the formation when we had injuries and putting square pegs in round holes. Like, I've got no problem with Warburton's style. He obviously wants to play a certain way. That's fine. Every manager does. But for me, it's the formation. You can play the same style, but have a different formation. Have players that work for the players you've got. Okay, every team has injuries. Yes, okay, not every team's lost 4 goalies. I get that. But every team has injuries throughout the course of a season. I just feel that he's the word I use is stubborn. I feel like Warburton has a stubbornness where he has a formation, and that's what he's going to do regardless. That's got him from last January, where he obviously was on the verge of potentially going before
Wickham,
before all the signings came in, before the turn of form. He kept to that formation ever since, and it was working. It was fine, but then performances and results, even the results we were picking up before Christmas, the performances were poor. We were scraping results. And then it's kind of, with the injuries, it's not helped. But then when you've got the injuries, surely you change the formation to suit the players that you've got available.
But then I think about, Warburton and if they was to get rid of him. But, I've reflected on it and just think getting rid of him now till before the end of the season would probably be a stupid idea. I think you'd have to just leave him now to the end of the season. And I can't foresee you out there now, other than you. I don't know, Dykes. We won't get him.
Oh, come on, bro. Geez, man. What
Manager?
15 million pounds from Bert. Come on, man. We're not Football Manager, mate. Come on.
Yeah.
Seriously, mate.
I think
Unless he wants to take a massive pay cut.
But I've
I
seen
think Dave McIntyre said the other day,
Dykes.
well, Ron, how many years stability has he had there behind the scenes? But do you know what I mean? I know he's been low budget, but it's so QPR. You know what? I'm not going to be a rant here, but like Alex Smithies was single-handedly keeping us up, and we were like 17th. We beat Nottingham Forest 2-0 home, scraping to stay up, and now we're up the top of the league, and everyone's getting irate. I think it's nonsense. I think it's absolute nonsense. And to be fair, people are probably going to get what they want, because from what I understand, other people, Dave McIntyre, close to the club, as of now, if we don't make the playoffs, it's a near-gone conclusion he's going to go. And even if we make the playoffs and we don't go up, as of now, he's probably going to very likely to leave the club. There's no new contract being discussed and nothing. So if that's what the club decided to do, I fully disagree with the board, in my opinion. Be careful what you wish for.
Ask you a question,
grass
mate.
isn't always greener.
Can I ask you a question? Why are the board doing that then? Because from what I've seen, the majority of the fan base are behind him. So it's not the fans that are forcing him out. I mean, there's a minority. You'll always get
disagree, Ben. Disagree, Ben. There's not a minority. Like you articulate, like with obviously on the podcast last time, giving your opinions, but there's loads on Twitter saying this and that and calling him all the names under the sun. He's seen it. I mean, the manager has a Twitter account. Let's be honest, the board see that kind of thing. Ruben, Amit, they're on social media. They see all this kind of stuff. You've got to appease fans. There's been loads on social media. I'm not denying he's got things wrong, 100%. None of us are perfect in our jobs and do everything super and we're all great. He's been in charge 3 years, 13th, 9th, 10th, with 3 points of the playoffs with 3 games to go. The budget he's under. He didn't get his number 10 in January. He wanted Tom Lawrence, who was told Derby wouldn't sell him. He wanted Patterson. The club wouldn't pay the fee for Patterson. He ended up getting a call in the morning of the last day of the transfer window and was told Jeff Hendrick's available. He takes Jeff Hendrick. And I thought Jeff Hendrick, good character. Do you know what I mean? I pretend to be Irish, don't know because my dad's Irish. I thought he'd be a decent pedigree, international. I thought he'd do a job. And if, as we've discussed, it's probably hindered the progress of Luke Amos, who's now come back into the team. I thought he'd be better. But come on, I might be completely wrong here, but give me an alternative. Clive Whittingham the other day, right, talks a lot of sense, writes a lot. This is what he said. If you're thinking of sacking a manager, thinking of alternatives is going to do better under the financial constraints and do better. I'm not saying Mark Warburton is the best manager. I'm not his best mate or anything, and he's this and that. But name me a better manager. Any of the managers we've had before didn't do anything what he's done. His job is completely underrated what he's done. Name me a better manager under these financial constraints, under what we've got to do, who's going to get. So Bilic, number 1, Brad, who I think you said. Bilic, West Brom fans say boring football. Number 2, Dykes, well, £50 million from Burnley.
We won't get Dykes.
Number 3, you mean you were putting on fantasy football on Twitter, so fart. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's talking about fart. What was the wage bill at Norwich, and what were Norwich players getting paid?
To be honest, I think the number 1 that we could bring in if Warburton was to go would be Carl Robinson.
Carl Robinson.
But I don't think
Warburton.
But
Carl Robinson, all respect for him, don't deny. But are you saying Carl Robinson's a better manager than Mark Warburton?
No, but hear me out. But I don't think Warburton's going to go. I don't think they'll get rid of him.
Well, why do you think the board get rid of him then?
Well, West London Sport saying it's almost certain he's going to leave the club. David McIntyre has been covering the club 20 years. And I'm telling you, as of today, the April 21st, that unless there's some miraculous turnaround, Mark Warburton gets the playoffs and gets promoted, or they want to have a complete U-turn, he's probably going to leave. Hopefully they listen to this and they don't I want him to stay. I think it's absolute nonsense.
Well, why do you think the board are doing that?
I mean, they can talk about it. They can discuss what they think. They put $1 million into the club every month. They're allowed to. They put money in the club, and they're filling. They can do whatever they want. Who am I to go and tell them what to do, or you or any of us? If they think that's the right decision, and if they think there's a better alternative, Gareth Ainsworth, QPR legend, love the bloke, unbelievable at Wickham. He's done unbelievable. What would happen, lads, after 2 or 3 months of Gareth Ainsworth? The fans would be moaning. They'd be saying long ball. They'd be saying they'd be bored. They want him out. I don't want him to come because I don't want him to tarnish his reputation. And I think Wickham, let him do. He's produced miracles anyway at Wickham. But come on, give me a better alternative. You know what? Warburton's probably going to go. And you know what? It'd be nonsense.
So I guess my question is 2 questions back to whoever is, if that's the case, was he aware of that? Was that the expectation at the start of the season? The board said, "Look, we want playoffs. That's your objective. If you do that, new contract. Let's move on." Obviously, we haven't done that, so the board have gone, "Well, you haven't met your objectives," because surely that's part of anyone's job, isn't it? Well, I'll set you.
As I said, this is a fact right now. This is what I'm saying now. No new contract's been discussed. Make of that what you will. if you want someone in next season, I think you make more of a move to secure them before 3 games at the end of the season. That's a fact. No new contract has been discussed with Mark Warburton.
No, but
And
what you're saying, I completely agree with. And like I said on the last episode of the pod, I was just frustrated more than anything because we are up there and we blew it. But I don't agree with all of the nonsense on social media towards Warburton whatsoever.
I've been supporting QPR now. I've watched us lose the Vauxhall Motors at home, struggling in the lower divisions. We've got Mark Warburton. No one's saying he's the best manager in the world. He's done a very, in my opinion, I think he's done a brilliant job.
But you can look at the squad we've got there though as well. We've got some unbelievable talent there on paper, and we should be.
Get a couple of injuries though. If it's get a couple of injuries, and they score. So what if we take a couple of star players out of Blackburn when they're not struggling? Ben Burton running the team. Did Blackburn not fall off a bit? Or what if we take out star players? Willock's one of the best players in the division, if not the best player. Ilias. When Ilias was, do you know what I mean? Take Chris out. We're nowhere near the same team.
The bad bench though yesterday, Sean. Okay, wasn't a bad bench. The bench was pretty good.
We should probably be in the playoffs. I mean, I hope we do get in the playoffs. Because, man, you know what I mean? I don't know what some people expect. So, Tony Mowbray said recently, didn't he? This is what probably is the thing. I think chasing a top 6 spot, like Blackburn, are more comfortable doing that than being in it. You know what? Maybe some of the younger players, I'm going to put Luke on the spot there saying about it kind of because he's one of the younger lads. I think they believe the hype. This is what people say to me around the club. I think they believe the hype a bit too much. Everyone on Twitter going, we're going to get top 2. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're getting promoted. I think they got into it too much. And then we fell off a cliff. And then there's a whole feeling of just deflation around the place. They think we failed. We should have been promoted. We had no divine right to get promoted. West Bromwich Albion's wage bill, the amount of money West Bromwich Albion spent. Look at their forward line. Callum Robinson, Carlin Grant. They're worth triple that's the whole squad. Where are they? Steve Bruce came in, an experienced Championship manager. I think he knows what he's doing, even though Newcastle fans want to hammer him. Where are West Brom in the league? Where are West Brom in the league?
Who takes this club forward? How do we move forward? Or do we not move forward? Do we? No, I'm not saying that it isn't.
He's going to leave, isn't he? So he's probably going to leave, isn't he? So unless they want to do a U-turn, so.
Because personally, I think Warburton's a good manager. I think there'll be clubs lined up for him if he does.
Of course, there's a couple of people in the horizon, but I'm not.
Talking of a U-turn, do you feel that if the form hadn't turned the corner like it has recently, we picked up a few results, and we were still in free fall, and we weren't any better off than we were kind of when he was taking over, do you think that form change has, like, maybe the board now are thinking, well, actually he has stopped the rut, he is turning it around. They weren't going to offer him a new contract while the form was abysmal. Now he's turned it round or turning it round. Do you think then there could be a contract offered if we say win 2 of the next 3, finish just outside the playoffs, but we finished better off than we did last season?
It's up to the board what they want to do, lads. To be fair, a couple of weeks ago, I did speak to the manager a couple of weeks ago. I think he said it even publicly. He wasn't happy with the whole outlets, radio saying set to leave, blah, blah, blah. And I remember at the time, I think the locals didn't make any comment on it because he wasn't set to leave as in a couple of days. So that was nonsense, total nonsense. I think as the clubs, it was nonsense, yeah. But then obviously you've had someone who knows, let's be honest, who's got a very good understanding of the club, who's then done a report. There's almost certain to be a new manager in charge next season. That person's not going to write that story without having that firmed up from various sources. And I've heard the exact same as him. So, as I said, as of April 21st, if QPR don't make the playoffs, it's a near gone conclusion he's going to go. And if they make it, and they don't, even if they make the playoffs and they don't go up, it's very likely he'll leave as well. So really, you're in a situation where getting the playoffs and promoted, maybe that's the only way he stays. I think if QPR got in the playoffs, I think he should be given the chance to have another transfer window, but people might say 3 years. The board might have someone. I think you named a couple other lads, and I think Brad, you said about MK Don's manager and a couple others. But yeah, very talented. Yeah, but come on, we're coming into the Championship now. Might lose a star player.
I do agree because whatever manager we get, if Warburton does go, and I can't foresee them coming in and just doing miracles and getting us straight in the playoffs and getting us where we want to be. That manager will have to build, which most managers do when they do come in. And I have listened previously to Mark Warburton in an interview, and he said it will take time, and he is building. He's building. But I suppose, like you're saying, the board obviously have got expectations, and if that's not getting, if that expectation is not getting hit, then they do get rid of Warburton, and it's their choice. But I can see why fans are getting frustrated because obviously where we were, but
I'm just saying we're little old QPR. I've supported them. I mean, as you lads have, we're little old QPR. We're not got a divine right to be promoted to the Championship. We scraped through with Harry Redknapp with massive wages and massive budget, and all these
100%.
loan players signing flipping 5 loan players on deadline day and fantastic and all that. Kevin Dawes, Mudabo Maigabon, lad from Brazilian lad, and Kevin Doyle, and we still just got up. We still undeservedly beat Derby County in the playoff final.
But a big question is, right? Big question is, do you not think what I feel like the club where we're going and what we're doing and where we want to be, we're going down the right path. Do you know what I mean? We are doing it right. We're not doing what we was doing when we had Hughes, Redknapp buying these players. We're scraping by and we're still up where we are. But
well, clearly not. Has there been? I think even speaking to the locals the other day, has there been a year-on-year improvement in terms of levels? Losing players, I think there has been, but maybe the board expect good luck to them. I will still support the club, but if they think there's a better option, we might be a year's time. We might be saying, "Oh, fair play to them, right decision. He's done his 3 years. He's done a good job, and there's someone else who's going to come in and get us promoted." But I tell you what, the Championship's a hard league. 5-6 years ago, we were scraping. Alex Smithy single-handedly kept us up a couple of seasons. We had to beat Nottingham Forest 2-0 at home. Be careful what you wish for. I'm not saying you guys want him out and all that, but I just think, man, I don't know. I just it doesn't sit right with me. I could believe. I mean, I don't even think I'm wrong now. I don't think he should go. I think it's nonsense.
One that I think what one of the biggest questions is around if we finish. You know, we could win 3 and we could be in the playoffs. We could lose the next 3 and we could finish 12th or 13th. Where's that year position gone that everyone, you know, you said like 4 or 5 times we finished 9th, 8th, you know, 13th.
Yeah. Well, then I get hammered, wouldn't I? Then I'll probably get hammered.
And then we finished 13th. That argument
still stand by, mate. I still stand by.
But look, we'll move on from that quickly. I also want to touch on Player of the Year. I think we all nailed on Willock or anyone.
Yeah, it's got to be Willock, Chris Willock for me.
I've gone for Jimmy Dunn.
Okay.
Purely for just like, I know Chris has had a brilliant season, but he has missed now a fair chunk of it since he's been injured. Whereas Jimmy kind of came to us, like, I didn't really know anything about him when he came to us. Like, he was a bit of an unknown. And he's got better and better and better and better, to the point, obviously, where he captained the club at the weekend. Like, he's made a lot of, like, when we got Dickie, we all thought Dickie's going to be, like, the next best thing for us. He's going to be, like, do you know what I mean? Whereas for me, this season, Jimmy Dunn's, like, surpassed Dickie's level as a defender. Not so much, obviously, the ball playing side of it, but as an actual out-and-out defender. Like, I think Jimmy Dunn is our best defender. And he's had a cracking season. First time for him in the Championship, really. So that's how I've gone for it, as a consistent for the whole season, from where he started the season to where he's finished it. Yeah,
he's going to be a big player next season, whatever happens. But I think Willock, I don't know whether the slump has made his value more, and we all appreciate him a bit more because he's not there. And that's meant that, can you give a player of the year after? What was his last game? Was it end of January? Was it? Can't remember, start of Feb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it February, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And what young player? We got any thoughts? I thought, I would have thought Chrissy would have been in that, but I think I went for Andre Dizelle in the end.
Yeah, I went with Dizelle.
I think. What's your thoughts on Dizelle? I feel like he gets a bit of unfair stick. I get his issues. He don't break the lines enough, does he? For me, his passing's great, but it's no good if he's too far back. He needs to.
Well, you say that, but since he's been back in the team with Luke Amos and Sam Field, is that almost like a midfield 3? Results have turned. So there's something to be said there, isn't there? Whether it's he might not be breaking the lines, but he might be doing that unnoticed defensive work, having a bit more mobility than other players were. Not going like throw anyone under the bus, but has he given us a bit more stability as a team rather than having like bigger say names in the team, and he's doing the work that they weren't doing? I think that's the difference.
I think
I like him.
I think he's got maybe obviously people got opinions, and I think he's definitely. I probably agree, Ben. Obviously, I think there's been a way over the top criticism of him. Do you know what I mean? I think we're at some of the talk is like he's like a conference player. Don't agree with that. I think he's got a bit of talent, doesn't he? I think he's great on the ball. I think he's namely someone who can pick up a bit of pass and do a bit. Yeah, obviously teams do target him a bit on the turn. I think as Dunks he does get caught a bit in midfield, but I mean the kid hasn't been a regular starter, has he? I think I know the board and the management team are quite a big fan of him. I think he can become a good player in the team. Obviously Ipswich, he kind of came in, didn't it, 16 years of age and fell off. But I think he's a confidence player. You look at him, he really is a confidence player. So let's hope he. I don't think he's reached the levels yet, to be fair, but I don't think he's a poor player who's not good enough to be in QPR's squad and who's rubbish, as I think some have alluded to. I think he's been all right. I think there's more to come from him.
Do you think he'll play at Stoke, or do you think Johansson will be coming back in the squad?
A bit of experience will come in. I've got a feeling that
Yeah,
we
it's
need
just-
to win the game. I can see Johansson
You
coming
change,
in.
you change your winning team though. If we need to win the game,
Will he
Have to
play
win the
forward or back?
game.
We'll have to. We haven't got anyone else, have we? I
We've got,
don't know if Barbe's back. He could revert to it. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's a good question. He may go experience. He may
Like,
keep it as it is.
John, we were talking about Dizelle now. But look at like the Don Ball situation. Like, great pro. I mean, obviously, I don't think.
Don't get me started about Don Ball, mate.
Pride.
Well,
but Brad's his biggest fanboy.
I love Don Ball. I just think
Yeah,
Don
exactly. It's great pro. Like, but I think Don Ball has really suffered because of the form of Stan Field. Stan Field has exceeded all expectations people in around the club. So I feel a bit sorry with Don Ball. I think he's a great pro. Maybe he's got a good relationship with Mark Warburton. I don't think he should have put that tweet out because then you've got fans jumping on it going, "Oh, Mark Warburton's lost the dressing room." So that didn't help Mark Warburton, Don Ball putting that tweet out. And I think knowing the manager, I'm not saying knowing the manager, I think those two probably would have had a conversation afterwards. And I think there's a lot of respect there. In any other situation, I think he's been really unlucky. Don Ball around your squad. I mean, I think people say this and that. He's solid. I feel a bit sorry for him, to be fair. But Sam Field's been brilliant. I mean, some people don't even rate Sam Field. So I don't know.
Well,
I said Chris Willock. Sam Field could be player of the year, to be honest, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Should I probably? Yeah.
Right, you say that, but like I said, going back to, I heard a Wolves interview not before, and he spoke very highly of Don Ball. Very highly of Don
So
Ball.
I mean, yeah, people
Said
trying to eat. Yeah.
In training, he gives 100%. His
Yeah.
attitude is 100%. He still pushes the players on, even though he's not in the squad.
Do you think
I
it
just
was
think
clever
Don Ball
marketing
is-
for his book?
I just think Don Ball is a massive person to have there,
Not bad.
but I'm a bit gutted that he doesn't get the game time. I think he's sort of earned.
But Brad, you then paying two defensive midfielders like Stoke or Swansea in the last day of the season. If you need a point or something, maybe you do put two defensive-minded players in there, didn't you? Like a Don Ball in there. But I obviously feel sorry for him. He's a good professional and stuff. But obviously, he probably understands. But that tweet probably didn't.
Will be gone then? Do you think this?
Do I think Don Ball will leave the QPR in the summer?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. I'm not saying I've heard he's definitely in, but if I'm looking at it, yeah, I think there's a couple I think you can probably say that probably Lee will leave. I think he's been good, solid. I agree with you, Brad. I think he's been. Do you know what I mean? That's like I used to be Carl Henry's biggest champion. People told me he was rubbish, but I thought Carl Henry was a good player for QPR. So
Sometimes you need those players in there. Sean Derry's types that just get stuck in, do the job, and let the other players go and score the goals. All right, lads, we'll leave it there. Big game Saturday. You say so, Brad?
I'm going to go 1-1.
1-1
in there first. But last time, I think in the last 5 we've played Stoke, we've won 3, drawn 1, lost 1. That was 2-0 in it. But yeah, 1-0. I think it'll be one of them games. We'll go 1-0 up, and 70th minute they'll score.
George, what do you reckon, mate?
1-0 Amos. No, I said it last game, innit? 1-0 Amos. I didn't back it. And his dad was like, "No, just don't say that." I was like, "Obviously, he's going to score." And I was fuming, man. I didn't back it. So I'm going to say 1-0 Amos this time because someone's telling to me he's going to continue scoring. He's going to start playing the piano, isn't he?
Can't wait for that. Can't wait for
Come
that.
on, it's going to happen now, isn't it? Let's back it. Come on, let's just give it. Well, I want us to have a good end to the season anyway. So it's not like I told you so. People on Twitter going, "Oh, I told you so." It was good he left. Let's have a nice. It's a weird feeling. It's a weird feeling, a strange feeling. It's like some of the managers kind of playing for like professional pride, really. But I think the players are fully behind him because I think he's even said in an interview like the players are asking him. It causes so much tension. The players are asking him what's going on with your future and all that. Do you know what I mean? So it's just it's an awkward one.
He looks a bit dejected, doesn't he? He looks.
But there is an
the manager.
Yeah. With Warburton as well, though. Sorry to just put this back out there, but you can almost go down to the players as well as such, because I know it's a manager that gets the best out of the players, but when this form happened, there was no one else on that pitch other than those players. Warburton was on the sideline, obviously giving them tactics, but the players are to blame as well for the form we've had. Surely the board and that and the fans have to see it that way as well. It's not just all Wolves.
Must see what they think, innit? Hopefully have a little bit of a U-turn, because at the moment it looks as though it'll probably go. So
Yeah.
I don't know. As I say, I'm not going to keep going on about it, but I think it's a job well done. If I had to give him marks out of 10, what would you come then? Well, I suppose last 3 games of the season, but if you have to talk
Change
about it
everything,
right
don't
now,
they?
as
I
of April the 21st, how would you mark him out of 10 for his job? Is another question I'll take out.
Right.
Out of 10.
You know, in January, Ben gave him a 9.5 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
I think it was 9.
Yeah.
I think
It was
9.
pretty high.
Well, we were flying, weren't we? You know, with the budget,
No.
you know, it's fact. But
I'll give him an 8.
yeah, I mean, a 7-8 would be fair enough. But yeah,
We'll probably agree.
Yeah.
I can
I
talk
think
about
I
this
think-
all night. I think we can all talk about this
I think
all
that's
night.
the problem, isn't it?
Sean
Like,
Dyche in. Brad wants Sean Dyche in today.
Yeah,
let's
I
get him in.
ended up the millions, and he get Dyche in. Great manager.
Brad will be
by the way,
messaging him
but
now.
I want those.
Messaging his
millions
wife.
out, mate.
Probably messaging his wife.
Mate, he's got a big guest on this podcast next week, and he's
Yeah.
grafting for it.
We have got a big guest on potentially next week.
Let's hope it pulls
Potential.
through.
Yeah, we're not
Cool,
giving
sure.
too much away. Dunk, what do you reckon quickly?
Right, I reckon Luke Amos is going to be watching Barry Easy's videos of his highlights against Stoke on the bus up, on the way up, and I think he's going to try and recreate it. He's going to score a worldie, and I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win 2-0. I'm going in with a bit of confidence.
I'm going 2-2. All right, lads. Well, cheers for coming on, and let's hope we get a result Saturday, and yeah, we'll catch up next week.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers,
Yours.
everyone.
Yeah, yours.